Up there, Mindy.
Vicky take pictures of your roosters. That's all, please, yeah.
I had showed him something that my brother had sent me, because I have chickens, all hens, and so he made something for me to put on my thing, and so I showed him last time I was here.
I'm like, oh, I got something to show you. That's fun.
So it's
And me and
kinda-
Vicky did that, I think about 2 or 3 years of taking pictures, and we got 2 or 3 years more pictures, so it's time for a second book.
So, yeah, no. I just thought it was kind of, I have it up now,
Nice.
yeah. He and I have similar senses of humor, as long as it's not hurting anyone's,
Yep.
the way I
Exactly.
look at it, it's okay.
Okay.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. Welcome to a regular meeting of the Goldendale City Council for November 18th. Sandy, would you please take roll call?
Sure. Steve Johnston is absent. Theon Wheeler. Lauren Meager,
Present.
Ellie Casey here. Andy Holm,
Here?
Danielle Clevedon here, Mylan Mull.
Here.
Okay, thanks. Steve called earlier today that he wasn't going to be able to make it tonight. Is there a motion to excuse Steve Johnston?
Motion to excuse Steve
Second.
Johnson.
I have a motion and a second to excuse Steve Johnston from the meeting. All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move along. Next item on the agenda is closed public comment. Is there anybody here or on the line that would like to make a public comment on issues on our agenda for the night? Nobody in person? Anybody on the line with their hand raised?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move along. Next item on the agenda under public hearing is public hearing on revenue sources. So I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
So move.
Second,
I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing on revenue sources. And we'll start the public hearing with a presentation from Jen Forsberg on the line. Can you hear us, Jen?
Oh, Jen, you're on mute.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ooh, now I can't hear you. Let's see. Well, we'll see what happens. So we have the same presentation that we have been working with, that I was just gonna pull up again for the public hearing, and I sent a request to you.
Do you want to be, or you want to share your screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me make you the host then. There you go.
Thank you. So I was just gonna go to these bullet points here to discuss, basically everything we've talked about with the budget already hasn't changed. We went with a 2% overall increase in expenditures across the board. We did the 1% property tax levy. The utilities were updated per the FCS study, and then we looked at the other revenues individually. So the information in the packet tonight represents all of those things, and it's been the same information that we've had the discussions on. So the recommended action would be to open up the public hearing and take public testimony.
Okay. Any Questions or comments from the council first before I open up the public testimony? Anybody in person or on the line that would like to give public testimony regarding our revenue sources? There are none. Being nobody for a public testimony, can entertain a motion to close the public hearing on revenue sources, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Moved it that we close the hearing to the public for the revenue sources.
Second that.
A motion and a second to close this public hearing on revenue sources. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, next public hearing will be the public hearing on the 2025 budget. Take a motion to open the public hearing on the 2025 budget.
So moved.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing on the 2025 budget. Any discussion before I call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I'll hand it back over to Jen for the presentation on the 2025 budget public hearing. Or was there anything further from you, Jen, on that?
I was, excuse me, I was just gonna switch to kind of go over the project again that we were going to go over or include in the budget. Just to make sure everybody was still aware of those projects that are incorporated.
Great, thank you.
And then just as a reminder, this is the meat of the budget, which will be in the ordinance that's included in the packet by fund. And so you can see after we take out the match for the projects, the general current expense fund is essentially a balanced budget with a little bit of use of fund reserves for those project matches. And then the rest of the funds are also balanced. The streets and the tourism fund, we are using the fund balance, but that's a programmed use. So it is still a balanced budget. Excuse me.
Okay, does anybody on the city council have any comments or questions on the budget public hearing? Hearing none, I'll open it up to any member of the public on the line or in person that would like to make public testimony on the 2025 budget. No hands are up.
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then to close the public hearing on the 2025 budget.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on the 2025 budget. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, the public hearing on the 2025 budget is closed. The third and final public hearing is a public hearing on amending GMC 15.48, the flood damage prevention. Is there a motion to open the public hearing on the flood damage prevention?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing on the flood damage prevention. Any discussion before I call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, at this time, we'll move on to the public hearing on the flood damage prevention. And I'll invite Dustin Conroy up to the podium. Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah, you bet. So in August of this year, FEMA sent out a letter of adopting the new floodplain study and maps, and those will go into effect in February. And as part of that, they reviewed the city ordinance for consistency with with those maps, and they recommended, some changes, and some of those changes are recommendations, some of them are requirements to be made. And so those should be highlighted in your packet. The only change that I personally made was adding the updated date, to that study, which is, and when it comes into effect, which is February of this year, or next year, here in a few months. And so as part of that, this ordinance changes some language, adds some language. But again, all these comments are from Department of Ecology and part of the process to adopt it. So, more than happy to answer any questions. Or not, but-
Thank you, Dustin. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding the flood damage prevention ordinance? Okay, and now we'll, being as how it's a public hearing, is there anybody here in person or on the line that has, any public input on the flood damage prevention ordinance? Nobody has their hand up on the line? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the flood damage prevention ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
The motion and a second to close the public hearing, amending GMC 15.48, the flood damage prevention. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The public hearing on flood damage prevention is closed. Thank you. Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. The approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda and the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to department reports. And we'll start with Chief of Police, Mike Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Right now, we're currently at 2,930 calls for service. This last week, in the last couple of weeks, we had some pretty bigger calls. We've had just recovered a stolen vehicle. Sunday night, recovered a separate case, recovered a stolen sawed-off shotgun from a younger individual. We're still investigating the case right now. So the calls for service have been kind of increasing to more serious calls. With that, we're still managing about one person per shift. And so sometimes we're dealing with a lot of more call outs than we used to. And so to double that up for the severity of the calls. And so we're just kind of trying to maintain that and try to get through the rest of the year.
Thank you, Chief. Assistant Fire Department Chief, Mike Stelgis, and might I say congratulations on the arrival of your new baby girl last week.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Well, just business as usual with fire department, nothing really new to disclose. Continuing to train weekly, and we are continuing to try and outfit the van we bought this summer to replace our old van from the 70s. So we're working on that. It's kind of slow, but we're trying to get somebody to paint it first most. So but yeah, that's about it.
Great, thank you. City Administrator Sandy Wells.
So Dave and I, the mayor, actually met with McKed last week and had a really good meeting with them, and so they're gonna come and do a presentation. I think the first weekend in December, that first council meeting. And then we also met with KVH and they gave us an update on all their projects that they're doing. And they would also like to come and do a presentation. And so I'm waiting to hear back from them what day works for them, but in the next few council meetings, we'll also have another update with them about their current projects and some things that they're looking into and wanting to make as a project, so.
They have a lot of ambitious projects coming up and ones that we're in the middle of too.
Yes, Yep, so that's all.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, well, we'll move on to under resolutions, resolution number 738. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go
What
ahead.
did I miss something?
Nope,
Okay, resolution number 738, the regular tax levy for the 2025 budget. And is Jen still on there to go over this again?
yes.
Yes, Jen?
All right. So attached in the packet tonight is the resolution that's necessary to establish the property tax levy amount in the amount of the 1% increase, which you're held to statutorily. The implicit rate was higher than 1%, so the city is able to take the full 1%, and that's what has been included in the 2025 budget this year. So the recommended action is to approve the attached resolution. It does need to be approved by the 30th. So if for some reason it does not get passed tonight, there would need to be a special meeting in order to have it approved in time to meet that deadline.
Oh, thank you, Jen. Is there a motion to approve resolution 738?
Yeah, Mayor, I move to approve the resolution number 738, establishing the regular tax levy for 2025 budget.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 738, establishing the regular tax levy for the 2025 budget. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item under ordinances. Ordinance number 1542, the first reading of the 2025 budget. And Jen, back to you.
Back to me. All right. So the preliminary budget for 2025 has been filed with the city clerk of the city of Goldendale. And they were presented on the 18th and also on the 6th. They were advertised in the paper for the public hearings that were held tonight. And so the final 2025 budget has been included in the packet tonight, and all interested parties have had the opportunity to be heard. It is about $12 million and includes the projects that we talked about already tonight. And it also includes the 1% increase in property taxes, which we just approved. So thank you for that. So the recommended action would be to accept the ordinance and do the first reading.
I move to accept the ordinance for the 2025 budget for its first reading.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the ordinance for the 2025 budget for its first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Next up, we'll move on to, and thank you, Jen. Appreciate your help on that.
Sure, thank you.
Next up, we'll move on to ordinance number 1543, updating GMC 15.48, the flood damage prevention. Is there a motion to accept ordinance 1543?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to accept ordinance 1543, repealing and replacing the Goldendale Municipal Code, chapter 1548, entitled Flood Damage Prevention. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. And that is report of officers. And let's start over here with Mylan Dwelling.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Actually, I think I'll pass tonight. I think everything's running along fairly well, so I'm good.
Thank you, Mylan. Okay, Danielle Clevidence.
Only thing I have is that I was able to attend the Indigenous people thing up at the observatory. I don't know what they actually called it, recognition maybe. It's an annual thing. This was the second time and it was incredible. I had another meeting right before that and got there a little bit late, but it was spectacular. It was really, really interesting and enlightening, and it was just really nice time.
That's so great. I heard there was just a wonderful presentation at the school I keep hearing about. On those same lines. We had a big thing there and I keep hearing from all the kids I know how great it was.
Yes, it was nice to go to.
Thank you, Danielle. Andy, home.
Just wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. You have a good week next week.
Thank you, Andy. Ellie Casey,
I have nothing, Mayor.
thank you. Lauren Mager.
No report there.
Okay, thanks. Owen Wheeler.
I have nothing this evening, but I'd like to go on the line to India.
Dion, do you have can you turn up your speaker or get closer? We cannot hear you. Sorry, I'm not sure of anything of what you said.
Is that better?
Oh,
Oh,
that's way better.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys their holidays and stays safe. I know the weather's coming and yeah. I think things are moving smoothly, and thank you so much, Sandy, and appreciate you, Dave, and the council. Have a good day. Good evening.
Oh, thank you, Theon.
you.
Appreciate it. Okay, and under mayor's report, I wanted to bring up, Mylan brought it to my attention that AWC, the Association of Washington Cities, is having their legislative days. And that's coming up in February. Do you remember the exact? dates of
I
that?
believe it's February 19th and the 20th.
Yeah, and I haven't been to that yet, but I'm planning on going to this one. I
Okay,
know Mylan's planning on going, and any other city council member that is interested in attending that, get with us and we'll make those arrangements.
right.
And yeah, it should be real. Mylan's been to many of them in the past.
I have, Mayor, yes, reason we want to do it early, because last year I tried to register in December and they were already booked, so.
Yeah,
With the new legislators we have now, I think it's really important that we go up and meet with them, introduce them, so they can get acquainted with us, and that really helps when the legislators know you. If you just send in an email, say you're from Goldendale, oh, okay, but it means so much when they personally know you. And the legislators want to hear personally from the local people, like the council. Yes, they have lobbyists, but then they really want to hear from us. And in the past, Larry Bellamy used to organize this and register us, and Mike Cannon and Mayor Mike Cannon and Larry and I, and we would go to attend the event. And it's really good, informative. And you spend a day on the hill there, and so, yeah, no, it's good. So, and again, that's why we're doing it early, because so we can get registered, that we're not gonna get aged out again.
yeah, so if any council member, yeah, Lauren.
Yeah, I would encourage as many people as can attend as possible. I know Steve Johnson mentioned he was interested. as
Yeah.
well, so.
Yeah, so, if you're interested in that, get with us and we'll, get on getting everybody who's interested in going registered, and we'll get that set up. It sounds like it'll be really worthwhile and educational, yeah. Okay, well, thanks for that, Mylan.
You bet.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
The other item I had was, so we've been in communication, with, Department of Transportation about the Broadway parking issue. So is what we want to do now is we need to schedule a Public Works Committee meeting regarding the parking on Broadway. We've been talking to Gary Albrecht from the Department of Transportation, and he's agreed to meet with via Zoom with the committee and Police Chief Mike Smith. We had a meeting earlier today talking about this. And so we want to, about the objectives. He wants to know what the objectives are from the council on the proposed traffic study on West Broadway, and get some more information. So we'll be getting a hold of Gary tomorrow or the next day, finding out the times that are best for him. And then I'll communicate that with Chief Smith and the Public Works Committee and get a time all lined up to have that meeting so we can move forward and make some progress on that topic. So, yes.
When you had a question, was it just you were interested in going to the legislative days? Was your?
Yes, I'm interested.
Okay, great.
Well, now, we gotta, can we all go? I mean, we got three. I'm not trying to,
So when we did that meeting, it said basically if you are going to meetings such as stuff like
Yeah.
this, you just can't discuss city business.
no,
Because
okay,
then you're meeting a quorum, even if you're traveling together.
okay.
That was my understanding. We
Yeah.
can certainly double check and make sure.
Well, I just wanna
that
make
at
sure that
least
we're doing everything right.
Yeah, I looked into that also, and that's correct.
Okay.
We can go to training seminars and things
Yeah,
like
okay.
that,
Okay,
but obviously we just can't
Yeah.
have a quorum and start talking about city business.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you. Okay, so anyways, Public Works Committee, I'll be reaching out to you once we've got some times and dates set up from Gary Albrecht from the Department of Transportation, and we'll get that set up. One other item, I was talking to Councilmember Steve Johnston earlier, and he's requesting another meeting of the Public Works Committee to further discuss the possible process of implementing LID funding for road construction. Just a refresher from what I know about LID funding, that's where you would reach out to a neighborhood and they would have to agree by majority, I'm not sure the exact details, to split the cost amongst themselves for road construction. And that's kind of what I know about it so far. We're looking more into that to see what the processes of it are. But anyways, I guess I'd like to get a consensus from the council to move forward to instruct the Public Works Committee to further look into the possibilities and explore that type of funding. Was that what you gathered when you talked to Mr. Johnston earlier this
Yeah,
afternoon?
you want to talk about that along with the two, the TIB double shot chip seal and talk about the reconstruction of Pine and Northwest High. I do have some information that we researched on LIDs from our attorney. Kind of the process, it's pretty lengthy, but I can email that to all of you, and so you'll have what the process is, but that was something that Steve wants to possibly look into. And so I wanted to talk about that at the Public Works Committee meeting.
I just have a suggestion with that.
Sure.
If you're gonna want to do that, is there any specific, first of all, is there any specific area that they're looking at? Is it Post Street? Is that what he's wanting to look at it for, or is it just in general?
He didn't say.
Okay, because I would just say, so that, yes, it'd be a great idea if we do get a consensus from the people that they might want something. But if people just flat aren't interested, then I think it might be a waste of time for you guys. I mean, but
I will email you all that packet of information that I.
Okay, that sounds good. It'd be good to at least know the information and educate ourselves on it. I don't know when the last time the city has done one of those.
Before I started. here,
Yeah.
So I've been here 15 years.
Yeah,
before
so
that.
it never hurts to educate ourselves on the process of it and talk about it further, but Sandy will email that information, and then I'll wait to hear back from the Public Works Committee if you guys would like to get together and further explore those possibilities and talk about it more. Sound right?
Good.
Great, okay, thanks. Okay, well, we'll move on. That was enough from me for today. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that's open public comment. Is there anybody here in the audience, Mr. Hoffer, that would like to make a public comment or on the line? Nobody has their hand up?
Nope.
Okay, close public comment then. And we'll move on to is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for adjournment. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Happy late birthday, Nancy.
Nancy on there.
Yeah.